All right, joined now by our Celtics contributor, Matt Phipps. Matt, thanks so much for joining us. All right, just one game to go for the Celtics. Let's talk about the win over Memphis. What were your biggest takeaways from that game where the Celtics really didn't need to play their starters? They were already entrenched as the 3 seed, but they had a good showing.
They had a great showing, and I think what you saw from it more than anything was the Grizzlies needed to win. The Grizzlies are fighting for their playoff life, and the Celtics showed that they are another tier of team. They're just another class of team, another level. Tatum came out smoking. He crushed. They looked great. I think it was another nice little tune-up. Got Kemba to run around for a little bit. They looked strong. I think that, and the other part about it is the Celtics may end up with a lottery pick because of that win tonight. So we'll see how that plays out in the West, where it's, the West is super competitive and highly entertaining. We just watched the end of the Blazers-Mavericks game. Incredibly competitive out there in the West. There's like a 4-horse race to make that 8th playoff spot. Yeah. And it looks like the Grizzlies, after the Triple J injury, that they're not going to make the playoffs, which would give the Celtics a lottery pick.
There you go. So a win-win for the Celtics. Kemba Walker said after the game, this is the best he's felt in Orlando. He had 19 points. In hindsight, do you agree with the Celtics bringing him on slowly, and you expect him to be at full speed once the playoffs start?
Yeah, I mean, look, we'll see if the plan works after the fact. They've clearly been very cautious with him. They obviously let him go against the Raptors, but in a general sense, they've been cautious. 19, 20, 21 minutes. Let's see how it plays out. I like the plan, but health is a tricky thing. So I hope that he's completely healthy, because they need him to be at his best if they're going to make a real deep playoff run.
Jayson Tatum, so efficient tonight from the field. He had the Jordan and Kobe turnarounds working. Crunch time for this playoff run. Is the ball in his hands or Kemba's hands with the game on the line?
Well, isn't that the beauty of the team? I think it's probably Tatum, but everybody remembers Kemba in MSG. So, he has a long history of hitting big shots. I like either of those guys to hit the ball at the end of the game. And even Gordon Hayward as a playmaker at the end of the game. That's part of what makes the Celtics just a really strong team, is all of the weapons they have, and even at the end of the game as well.
All right, it looks like the 76ers are the matchup in the 3-6 slot right there. There's an outside chance for Miami or Indiana. We know Ben Simmons is out. What do you make of a possible early prediction outlook for Celtics 76ers?
I'm really optimistic given the fact that Ben Simmons is going to be out. He's such a huge piece of their offense. It almost makes it so. And look, I've talked to you a bunch of times. Embiid's the guy who scares me. Embiid now can go off, and they can let him go off and still win. Without Ben Simmons, I think the Sixers are in real trouble. I'm very optimistic about the Celtics versus the Sixers. That doesn't mean that they can. It's going to be super easy. They're still going to have to play them tough. But I'm very optimistic that the Celtics can knock off the Sixers when they face them.
Give me someone off the Celtics bench that you think needs to step up come playoff time.
I think on some level, and it goes back to Kemba's health. If Kemba's not healthy, if he has an injury, they're going to need Wanamaker to step up. Marcus Smart's going to have to really step up. Those two guys, I think, are particularly important just because of the fact, because they may look, if they're playing very well against the Sixers, they may be cautious with Kemba even in that series if they jump out to a big lead, or if they go up in the series very quickly. So still looking for strong guard play from them.
And any other big thoughts right now? Big picture NBA out of the East or the West? You said how competitive the West is. Is the East really Milwaukee's to lose, or do you think Toronto or Boston really can give them a run for their money?
I think it's wide open. I think that the pandemic and the bubble situation made it wide open. I think that the Bucks are very beatable. Call it Hot Take Tuesday. I actually don't think the Bucks or the Lakers will be in the finals.
Wow.
I think that the Celtics have a real puncher's chance to make it all the way. I think that the Heat have a chance to knock off. They match up really well against the Bucks, and they're potentially playing in the second round. I think that's a tough second round or conference semifinal matchup for them in the Eastern Conference. So no, I don't think it's a cakewalk by any means for Milwaukee. I think that they're going to have a real challenge knocking off both the Heat and then hopefully ultimately the Celtics, wherever comes out of the bracket, whether it's the Celtics or the Raptors.
All right, good stuff. Matt Phipps joining us talking Celtics. One more game for the season. It's on to the playoffs. We appreciate your time. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me as always.